Newsmax West Coast contributor James Hirsen. James, thanks very much for your time with us today.
My pleasure to be with you.
This whole Bill Cosby story, it is snowballing. I imagine you have a unique vantage point from where you are there in Southern California.
Well, look, this is a tragedy on every account. This is a guy whose career spans generations and decades. You think about him breaking the color line with the television show I Spy. He goes back so many years. He's been acknowledged as one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. And it's tragic. The problem is the damage has been done. As you pointed out, in the court of public opinion, where there are not the safeguards that there are in a court of criminal law, Bill Cosby, in this latest round, there was about 8 years of silence because there were a number of media reports back ending maybe from 2004 to 2006, and there was nothing. All of a sudden, in this year, there were a whole bunch of reports, and new women came forward. These allegations are from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and many of them are quite serious sexual assault allegations. And so what we're seeing is a brand being totally tarnished, much more serious than Tiger Woods, not unlike what was happening to Michael Jackson. And the charges are criminal in nature. There is not going to be any criminal prosecution, however, because they're so old. But the damage has been done, as you pointed out. His shows have been banished from TV land. They're going to be banished, period, I'm sure. And there was a program in development at NBC that the network has dropped. Netflix has dropped the running of his material. And it's just, and the problem for me personally is that I'm not totally unbiased in reporting, because I actually know one of the women who is a very credible and wonderful human being. And I was shocked when I heard that she had come forward. And that's the thing, they've been on major cable networks, these women, these alleged victims, and their stories are compelling and they're very credible.
Let's talk about the woman that you know that claims to be a victim to Bill Cosby's actions. Can you talk about her a little bit?
Only got about 30 seconds, James.
She's married to the former bodybuilder and actor Lou Ferrigno. It's Carla Ferrigno, and I just know her as someone that I've met, but I'm always, she's an impressive person, as is Lou, who I also know, and she felt compelled to come forward because she felt like these other women needed support. And, her allegation is not quite as serious as some of them. Some of the allegations involved drugging.
And we will talk more about it with you, James Hirsen, following the break. Stay tuned. There's more ahead here on America's Forum. Let's also welcome back our left coast contributor for Newsmax. That, of course, is our friend James Hirsen. Let's continue the conversation, James, about this troubling story or stories involving Bill Cosby. We left you off in the break there. You were completing a thought about just the enormity and severity of these charges. If you'd continue, please, sir.
Yes, and what we're talking about are the allegations against this legendary icon comedian Bill Cosby. And really what I was saying is that the damage to his brand is done. He is losing very, very important business relationships with TV land, with NBC, with Netflix, much like what happened to Tiger Woods. And it's a situation like Tiger Woods. It's the cumulative effect of so many women. If we go back and look at the court papers,
but Tiger Woods came forward, though, James. Don't you think? Bill Cosby is saying these allegations are completely false. So is it fair?
Well, he's not talking, and he's letting Marty Singer, his lawyer, speak. And Marty Singer's response is, they're discredited, they're old, and just because you repeat them doesn't make them true. But the problem is that more and more women who hadn't come forward before, who were anonymous before, come forward. And of course, the charges are far more serious. Tiger Woods was just charges of infidelity. These are charges of criminal behavior, serial criminal behavior. And as I said, in the court of public opinion, we don't have safeguards. I actually think that your point about him not speaking, I think that harmed him and is continuing to harm him. And he doesn't have a publicity spokesperson handling this. And so, and again, these women are very, very credible.
They're very credible, but he has not been charged with anything. So is that fair?
Yeah, back when these charges, there was a lawsuit filed by one of the women, and a prosecutor looked into it, and there was insufficient evidence to come up with a charge. And these, as I mentioned, these charges are old. Most of them stem from the 1970s. There is no way that they are prosecutable. And so this is not going to be a legal matter, but it's going to be a public shaming situation, and that's already happening.
From public shaming to a situation that involves not the courtroom of public opinion, but the evaluation of film critics. A lot of talk about Clint Eastwood's new film, American Sniper, dealing with the life of the real-life Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. There is some talk, and we only have about a minute and a half remaining, that given this subject matter, those who determine Academy Award nominations will be reticent to nominate this Eastwood-produced, directed film because of the subject matter and because of politics in Hollywood leaning so far to the left. What's your take?
No, you're absolutely right. There's roughly 6,000 Academy members who vote on this, and the idea that they would vote for a story of the most lethal sniper in American history, after all, his skill is killing people, and there's questions about that. The executives at Warner Brothers think this is an Oscar contender. They're releasing it under the wire on Christmas to qualify for an Oscar, and they think they can kind of do what they did with $1 Million Baby when Clint Eastwood snagged the Oscar the last time. But it's going to be a challenge, and most of the insiders are saying Clint is going to have to get out there and campaign for this movie. After all, Oscars are a campaign, just like a political campaign. Maybe he'll bring back the empty chair.
Well, maybe not even the empty chair. He was successful in his own right? The one-time mayor of Carmel, California. Final 15 seconds to you, James Hirsen.
That's right, and there's a tremendous respect for Clint Eastwood and his body of work, and there's great respect for Bradley Cooper, who's the lead actor in this. So it's got a real shot.
All right, we'll see what happens.
No pun intended.
We'll find out in the days ahead. Sorry to cut you off there, pal. We assure you it's not the hook. It's just the old man time. It keeps moving along, and we'll be right back.